So we're going to jump right back in here. We're going to talk more about the microwave today. All these computers and microwaves and everything you have around your house, they're full of electronics. And people throw this stuff in the trash every day. Think about that. Now these sheeple don't know this, but in every household, every sheeple has one of these in their household. It's a microwave. We're going to talk about this thing today. We're going to talk more about the parts inside of it. There's an endless amount of electricity in there, an endless amount of gas, an endless amount of technology. No, it's right inside their microwave, and they throw these things right out in the garbage, and you can make an endless amount of HHO, hydrogen, oxygen gas. Basically, that entire thing, it's nothing more than a water molecule flexing machine. Think about this. That's all it does, is it oscillates the water molecule. That's all this machine does. It's basically almost like it was built for the sheeple. Think about this. So they're going to save money. I'm going to show you how to go over all these parts here. We're going to cover everything inside. So there's an endless amount of treasure in there. So my neighbors throw out trash every day, and I go out there and collect it. I just dig through it first thing in the morning. Priceless treasure out there for HHO gas. Transformers, rectifiers, everything, motors, engines, I get it all out of the garbage. LEDs, diodes. Almost everything on this table of elements you see right here is thrown right in the garbage. I go out every day, I find copper, iron, beryllium. Look, that's inside the microwave, see? It's like an electron gun. You can take this out of the microwave. We'll find uses for that in the future. So this is the water powered planet that we live on, and that microwave has everything that you need to make an endless amount of power. No, an endless amount of gas to get away from these non-renewables that are just chewing up your money. So we're going to use this microwave technology. We're going to get the magnets out of there. So you can take these huge magnets and make it an endless amount of electricity. You see, a lot of these guys don't know that the magnets are inside there, and all you need is some copper. So we're going to talk about the transformer today. So you can step it up or step it down, or use it as an isolation transformer. See, there's many different kinds, look. So it comes right out of the microwave. It's mostly the bulk and the weight of the microwave. And what I've done here is I cut out the secondary. Normally it'll look like this. You'll get this high voltage transformer, and these things are dangerous. I have no use for it. So what I do is I cut out the secondary and I bring it down to 120 volts. See how this one looks? You can see the secondary is on the bottom. I mean the primary. And I cut the secondary out of the top. Okay, and I rewound it. So the secondary is gone. It's low voltage now. Everything you see here. I did the same with this one. I removed the secondary. It's gone. And the primary at the bottom. Now these things aren't really good for making HHO gas, but I'll show you how it works. Okay? Let me set this down. A little torch like this. It's easy to run. Very low power and low electronics. Very small fuel cell. So you can do the same with this stuff. And turn it into a welder. I'm going to show you how to do that. This is what I got going here. I'm going to plug the kilowatt in and I'll show you. Now you want to be careful with this stuff. I have it grounded and it's all in the open here. So I'm going to take the AC current and use the bridge rectifier to turn it to DC. And then I'm going to use the pulse width modulator to control it to send power over to the DC motor. Then I'm going to spin the AC motor. Then I'm going to have that go over to the voltage meter. I'm going to see how much power I can make in AC. See, I'm using the motor that's at the bottom of that microwave. This microwave is full of electronics. Basically an endless amount of clean energy, an endless amount of power. I'm going to show you how to use this thing. You wouldn't believe what's inside there, and they throw so many of them out. I mean, I don't even take them out of the garbage anymore. I got them stacked up in my living room. There's so many microwaves. But I'm going to show you how you can use this thing in this video. has a lot to do with resistance. I'm going to show you the good and the bad about these things and why I really just use them for projects. Really just for science and experiments. I mean, I can use them to turn on the lights and stuff. Here, let me plug this one in and I'll show you. So it's running. Turn my voltage meter here. So check it out. I have it coming out of the wall here, and you can see this thing pulls an enormous amount of power just to turn it on. I'm already pulling 8 amps. 85 watts. So I'm coming in as AC here. I got my bridge rectifier that converts it over to DC. You can see my windings there. So I got it down to 12 volts. I'm running this very simple LED light here, you can see, and I have it hooked up. And here's the pulse width modulator. This is my DC motor controller. And I'm using it to spin the DC motor. See, and I have AC power coming in. I'll speed it up. So you can just jump back and forth between sine wave and square wave. Very simple. We'll continue on and I'll show you more in this video. That's really all the water molecule does inside the microwave. This machine was designed to oscillate the water molecule. That's all it does. It's full of electronics. It's trash to most people, but it's treasure to us. So we're going to talk a little more about the microwave transformer here. And one of the beauties of this thing, I'll talk about the good things. You can match any voltage standard, no matter how strange the requirement is. See, I needed 6 volts, so I turned this into 6 volts. It has to do with how many turns you put on there, on that secondary. See, I made this one 12 volts. I needed a 12 volt power supply. I'm going to show you what you can do with it here. See, it's very different from a computer power supply. Now this thing back here is very efficient. That's a 1000 watts PC power supply. See, I have it running this HHO torch here right now. See, I have my little flame coming out there. I use that for soldering and stuff and desoldering. So it doesn't take much power to run this little tiny oxyhydrogen fuel cell you see right here. It's like a mini behemoth. So in that microwave, just about a whole handful of elements that you can use to make electrical power. So it's amazing what comes in out of the garbage out there. It's absolute treasure. Now this thing has a lot to do with resistance too. That big fat coil you see on the bottom there pulls a lot of power. It's not like this little one here that's very efficient that you plug into the wall. It takes 120 volts and converts it down to 9 volts DC or 12 volts DC. The smaller ones are much more efficient. And these big ones pull a lot of power, but I'm going to show you what you can do with it here. Let me set the camera down and shut this off. But the AC power, think about that. That goes all the way back to the argument between AC and DC back in Tesla's time. So the sine wave keeps you plugged into the wall, you know. They send it over long distances, the electricity with that. But the DC power is really how we do anything. And it's how we make the HHO gas. So it's very important, you know, you got to think about that. And these power companies, they love that microwave machine. That thing's a beast. It pulls an enormous amount of electricity when you use it. I mean, it just chews up your money. So it's really not the best candidate in the world to make HHO gas. But you can. You can. You could turn this thing into a separation system. See, a lot of these people don't know it, but there's an endless amount of clean power right there in this microwave right inside their home. See, and they don't know that. See, I'm trying to show them that so they see that and they think, well, wow, there's a lot of money there in that microwave. People are throwing out a fortune. There's magnets that you can make an endless amount of electricity. You can make motors. So let me turn this off real quick here. And we'll unplug that, and I'll go ahead and plug the transformer in. I'll show you what we got going on here. But look at the other transformers for lights and stuff, for small stuff. So just about everything in your house uses a bridge rectifier or a diode to convert it over to DC. Let me plug it in here and I'll show you what's going on. So you can see I have it coming in here as a sine wave. I can detect it. I can get near this transformer and I can detect it. See, and I have it bridge rectified over to square wave. See, I'm running lights. You know, I'm running my voltage meter, and look at this, I'm making an endless amount of gas. See, and every sheeple has this power in their home. Endless amount of oxygen and hydrogen can be produced. You could fill the tanks around the world. You could fill an endless amount of gas tanks with that. So see, the electronics are there. But just remember, this thing's a power-hungry beast. It pulls a lot of energy. Pulls a lot of electricity. It's not the best candidate in the world to make HHO gas, but it does. And everyone has one of these in their home. It's basically an endless amount of technology and power. An endless amount of electricity in that microwave. See how much power that thing pulls? Look. It's pulling amps. Pulling about 100 watts. It's not bad, but still not very efficient. Let's move on. So you're working with the transformer. It's all about the coil. How many turns you put in that secondary or that primary. So there's a lot of parts in that microwave, a lot of wires, a lot of coils. See, you can zap a sheeple with that thing. It'll burn the fur off one of these guys. You got to be careful. Remember, that's high voltage when it comes in. When it originally comes in, it's high voltage. Look at that. See, danger. See, disconnect the power in the capacitor before servicing. See, so you can burn the fur off one of these guys. You want to be careful. But once you cut that secondary out, I'm going to tell you how I do it. I take the hacksaw and I'll cut it out. And then I'll use the drill. I'll drill right through the sides. I'll drill right through that copper wall. I'll drill through here both sides so I can easily get it out. So I was just scratching the surface of what you could do with these microwave oven transformers. These are low voltage. I made 12 volts out of this one, 6 volts out of this one. And just always remember, it's coming in the wall there. It's 120 volts. Think about that. It's coming in a sine wave and it's 120 volts, so you can get zapped. It will shock you coming out of that wall circuit right there. So you want to be careful working with these things. But like most things on my channel, it's all low voltage. Got this thing down to 12 volts. We'll plug it in here. Show it to you one last time. So I was just scratching the surface of what you could do out there. So it really is an endless amount of electronics. It's amazing what you can power with these things. I could power a row of LEDs that go all the way around this house. I mean, this thing puts out a lot of amps. And don't forget about the diode. The diode's the secret to jumping back and forth between AC and DC. You need a good sized rectifier like this and a heat sink. Those smaller diodes. Remember, this thing heats up. That's one of the fallbacks of it. These things overheat. But I hope that covers the microwave transformer and some of the stuff you can do with it. So it's got some good and bad about it. Your imagination is literally a limit with that thing. And I got trash coming in every day. Look at this treasure. Treasure. Neighbors just keep throwing this stuff out. Look, I just got this thing out of the garbage. I'm about to make a video covering that motor. I just got these wires. Endless treasure, guys.